and welcome to Intentionally Waiting, Season 1, Episode 7. So, what am I going to talk about today? It seems like it's been an age between this podcast and my previous podcast. And there's a reason for that. That's because I've been on 2 weddings back to back. 2 weekends in a row I have been at a wedding. And I think today I'm actually going to talk about my experiences at the wedding, how it made me feel, and the kind of things that I've learned from that wedding in the hope that it could also help you. As I say, I'm always here showing up for me as well as for you. And I pray that this blesses somebody in a good way. And the reason why I want to talk about the weddings is because, to be fair, they actually took me by surprise. Not the attendance of it, but how they both impacted me differently and how I navigated my way through it. Because there are certain times in your life when you are going to have a lot of emotions, and weddings are one of them, because a wedding is a joyous event. It's like a wonderful event for the people that are getting married. It's something that they've been waiting for such a long time. They've been planning it, and suddenly the day is there. They get to become Mr. and Mrs. to that person, their soulmate, the person that they want to spend the rest of their life with, all of those kind of things. So there's lots of joyous emotions. There's also a lot of joyous energy in the room, because you've got the people that are coming to the weddings that are just wanting to bless them, that are just so pleased that they finally got this date, especially in this day and age with the COVID, and people have had to adjust their wedding dates and change it and cancel it and and rearrange it. So it's been like a stressful period for them as well. And just knowing that they're now come to this point where they're able to actually tie the knot and get married becomes a joyous energy for people in the room. But there's also a different type of energy that comes in, and this is what I want to focus on, because like for me, the 2 weddings that I went to were both different. One was the wedding of my niece, and she looked so beautiful on her wedding day, and the other was a wedding for my friend. Now, so the wedding for my niece, it was a strange one, because like I've known my niece obviously since she was born. And when she was born, I was roughly about 26 years old. So I was an adult in my own right. And when you watch somebody grow up to an age where they become not only an adult, but they also have got children, and at the same time they're now getting married, it kind of makes you take a moment. And for me, it took me by surprise, because suddenly I felt like, there were things in my life that I thought that I would have accomplished at this point in time, and I haven't. And it was a true reflection on me. And I had a moment where I had a flood of sadness that came upon me, and to the point where, I shed a couple of tears. I did cry, and I cried on my mother's shoulder, because for a moment I just suddenly felt, is this actually going to happen for me? Like, am I actually going to be at a point where I'm going to be walking down the aisle and get married? Am I going to be at the point where I'm actually going to have children? Are these things possible for me, or have I missed the actual mark? From the point of time when I got divorced early on in my life, was that just my moment? And now that that moment has gone, that, I've lost it. So, I got married, I got divorced. Should I just be happy with that lot and then just continue my life as a single person? So all of that flood of emotion came to me, and it impacted me, because it made me suddenly realize that the way people look at me now, the way my niece looks at me, is like I'm her aunt. I'm her aunt, and I've got experience and I've got knowledge, and she's coming behind me, and she's seeing the things that I'm doing, whether the things that I'm doing for good and the things that I'm doing that are causing challenges, the things that I've done right in her eyes and the things that I've done wrong in her eyes. And suddenly I realized that I am actually an example. And in that example, there's kind of like certain things that I should be doing that I probably took for granted, because you don't see how you are. You don't see your age, number one. You don't see your experience. You don't see where you are in life. The only way you see it is when you mark it against somebody else, and when you mark it against, and it's not comparison, so you're not comparing your life with somebody else's life, but you're marking your life on a trajectory. So you know that, okay, for my niece, for example, to be 24 years old, and she's now an adult. Now, I'm still an adult, I'm still further ahead from her, but the way she sees me is totally different from the way that I would see myself. And I had that moment, and it was a very humbling moment. And I think we do get to this point, especially if you have been waiting for a long time and you can't see anything on the horizon. So, you're not dating, you're not doing meetups, there's nobody that's coming to your plate that's even posed a question to you. You can get disheartened. And I think my point to you is that it's okay to be disheartened. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to have these feelings, but it's not okay to stay there. And for me, at that point in time, I had my mum that I could cry on her shoulder. But, in situations where that's not possible, I've also got God. And for me, there are times in my life when I've had to really cling on to God and just ask him to hold me tight, because I can't get through that period on my own. And, in this whole process, I want you to know that it is not always going to be sunshine. You're not always going to have happy days. You're not always going to be jumping up and down. And you've followed my journey. You've seen days when I've been like, yes, this is great, I'm in it, I'm so excited. You've also seen days when I've like, you know what, I don't feel so great today. And over the not last weekend, but the weekend before, I wasn't feeling great. And maybe that's a part of the reason as to why I didn't show up, because I really wasn't feeling my authentic self. And I probably didn't just want to display that on camera. But I think it's important for you to know that in this journey, there will be times when you feel disheartened. There will be times when you need encouragement. And, I think it's a good thing to have somebody in your life that you can go to at any point in time, and they will encourage you, and they will lift you up, and they will hold you, and they will tell you that you're not alone, and they will tell you that they're there for you, and they will, give you that level of comfort that you need, because it's only for a short period of time, and you will come out on the other side. Go through those feelings. Go through those feelings of fear, because that's what it is. It was just a fear for me, the fear of something not happening in my life. And you will have those feelings, and it's just for you to let it pass through you and let it pass out of you. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to, I don't know, get a bucket of ice cream and just eat it all, then do that, as long as you come out. And that leads me to the second marriage, because the second marriage was very different, because it was the marriage of my friend. Now, again, it was a beautiful marriage set up in beautiful scenery. It was in the lake, so it was wonderful. The day was perfect. It couldn't have been more perfect than it was. The couple are absolutely wonderful, and it was a blessing to me, for me to be actually part of their special moment. But one of the things that really helped me get through the day was that I was able to actually kind of use that as a stepping stone to picture my wedding, to picture what that would look like. Because I could have gone in thinking, well, lucky for them, they're getting married. I could have brought my negative energy to the place, but that would have just reflected on me and not on the actual ceremony itself, and not on them, because it is their happy moment, and it will just be that I've having a miserable day. So what I decided to do was look at the things that inspired me from what they had done, because sometimes you might have an idea, but when you see somebody else's idea, you think, oh my God, that's even better than my idea. I couldn't have even thought of me doing something as good as what they've done. And I used it as a springboard to look at the wonderful things that they had laid out, take nice photos of some of the things, and just imagine what my wedding would be like. Imagine the kind of things that I would do for my wedding. And that helped to raise my spirits, to make me feel a lot better. The other thing is that sometimes, especially with weddings, you can go with it thinking, well, maybe I'm going to meet that special person at the wedding, and your whole focus is on meeting somebody, meeting that person that you think is going to be, your forever person. That you're focused on catching the bouquet, you're focused on all of those things. And when it doesn't happen, you get disheartened. I've done it before in the past, so I know what that's like. But I think that every single person that you meet in life can either be a benefit to you or it can be a distraction for you. And I think one of the things that I did do is I went in hoping to just meet general people that I could engage with, meet like-minded people that maybe we could actually have good friendships with. And I was blessed to find a few people at the wedding that I was able to share with, and they shared with me, and we were able to have a laugh and talk about. And I'm hoping now that that's going to lead into some real good friendships. And I think that if I hadn't have gone with that positive mindset, if I hadn't have gone thinking that, I can actually benefit from this wedding, I can meet people that I probably would not have met if I didn't go to the wedding. I can sit around the table and have open conversations. I can share a little bit about my life. I can hear a little bit about their lives, what they're doing, And I think one of the best moments for me was actually after the wedding, when we were sat just in it was almost like a drawing room, and there was a fire burning in the corner, and there was just a couple of us. We were just sat around the fire and we were just talking. It was such a beautiful moment, and it's one of those moments that I will capture forever, because there was nothing, there was no animosity, there was no expectation. It was just, hey, we've met each other at this beautiful place, and you're beautiful people, and we've got beautiful things that we want to share, and they had children, and we talked about their children. They had a past, we talked about their past. They had aspirations, we talked about their aspirations. And I was able to share and actually enjoy that moment. So, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because in this situation for me, it was a wedding. It was a wedding that brought out some really negative emotions. For you, it could be something else. It could be a christening. It could be Christmas, for instance. Christmas is coming. It could be a birthday, and you suddenly feel all alone. You suddenly feel like you're that person that has been waiting and nothing's happening. You're suddenly feeling like you're the person that's been left on the shelf. You're thinking, when is your time going to come? You're thinking, is your time going to come? And you let yourself sink into what I call a really sad, bad place. And I'm not trying to tell you that it shouldn't happen, or it won't happen, or you should stop yourself from going there. I'm not trying to tell you that, because it's very difficult to do so. Somebody could have come up to me and says, well, what are you crying for? Stop crying. That would not have solved the problem. Somebody could have come to me and gone, you know what, you should be grateful for, it's not about you. You should be focused on these other people that are getting married. They could have told you all of that. None of that would have helped. But to know that you've got somebody there that's just able to just hold you, and just to have the empathy with you at that moment, to help you to come out of that, because you can come out of it, and you will come out of it. It is a journey. It is not an end point. And now I am looking forward with fresh energy again. And I've taken all those moments as happy moments, and, and I'm looking at it you know what? If I'm holding on to their happiness, I'm holding on to their joy, I'm holding on to the peace, I'm assimilating all of it, and you can do so too. So rather than stay in that sad, lonely, depressed place, just go through it. You will come through it. You will come through it, and you will come through onto the other side. And when you are onto the other side, look at the positives. Look at the joys that come out of it. Look at the blessings that you can get. Look at how you can take those things and add them to your own life, so that you can be better, not just internally, but also externally as well. And I tell you, when your time comes, and when my time does come, I'll be able to reflect on these moments that they were joyous moments and they were not sad moments. So I hope that's blessed you, and I just hope that it's helped you to know that, yes, we are going to have these times, and this is a journey, and I'm going through it, and I'm sharing it with you, just so that you know that it's not strange. You don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to be smiley all the time. But what you do need to try and ensure is that you just don't stay down when you do drop for whatever reason, when you do feel that loneliness. Don't stay there. Grab onto something. grab onto your faith like I grab onto my faith, or grab onto somebody that's just going to hold you and just be there for you to help you come out on the other side. And when you come out on the other side, you will see the sun is shining in a beautiful way for you. I'm going to stop there, and as I always do, I come up with what should be the title of this podcast. And I'm going to call it, the blessings of weddings. The blessings of weddings, the blessings of weddings, because a wedding is a blessing to people's lives, and it's also a blessing to you. Even though it may not yet be your turn, it's still a blessing to you, because it is an indication that your turn is on the way, and it's an indication that your blessing is coming, and it's an opportunity for you to grab hold of all the blessings that have happened in that wedding and pass it forward into yours, and reap the benefits, not just of those weddings, but of also your wedding to come when it will come, if that is something that you're looking out for. And indeed, it is something that I'm looking out for. I want to get married, and I'm looking forward to when that day is going to happen. Take care, everybody, and I will see you definitely next week for episode 8. Take care. Bye-bye.